talk about the VOD and the silver screen. Kevin and Tom and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 781. Goddamn Webb.
How many superhero movies do we have this year? Do we have any more? Are we done?
We talk about this every week.
this
Let's see.
Deadpool.
Isn't
Deadpool. That's right. But that's it.
I think that's it.
I think so.
Okay. Well, we're started off with a bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this a
Something.
superhero movie?
It's technically a Marvel character.
It ain't a super nothing movie.
No, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So before we get too far afield, let's go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves.
You can go.
I'm Matt.
Yeah, this is Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom. Quick shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, iHeart. Wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. Super helpful. Greatly appreciated. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. It's called the League of Show Sharers because we are hoping you will share an episode. People who were kind enough to share an episode last week include Librarian Cynthia, Chris Valls, Matt Gonzalez, Richard Krotzer, Julianne Jordan, Tom Dowdy, Ralph Tribble, Travis Tewitt, Gabriel Lugo, Phil Timon, Chris Magic Man, Heather Sachs, Taylor Ward, Matt Naglia, The Kryptonian Orphan, Ronnie Castle, Edit Photo Gamer, Nostalgia Cast, Ryan Terry, In Session Film, Colby Mack, Geek to Me Radio, and Binge Movies. So thank you very much. We greatly appreciate you sharing an episode. And don't forget we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Real Spoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content, and we love you long time. And also you can watch all these on YouTube if you would like to see the shock and horror on our face as we discuss Madam Web.
And I'm
welcome
just
to all our-
saying, history might be kind to me. With Lisa Frankenstein.
Well, we're the only ones that saw that movie, so they had to come to us for the review.
Right. No one else
Hey,
was
I'll
discussing
take it. I'll
we
take
were
it.
probably
Don't yuck on my yum, Kevin.
I'm not. You enjoy your necrophilia all you want.
Our Madam Web downloads probably include like Diablo Cody.
I know, yeah,
like,
right,
these are
right.
like no one's talking. Well, these guys are.
Hey, I thought it was great.
Yeah,
Had a great time.
So
I'll watch Lisa Frankenstein a billion times before I ever watch this again.
Oh, disagree.
What?
This movie is a blast. To like,
Baffling.
no, this is like so fun to just like watch and slack jaw. Like, how did a major studio make this movie?
It's
like in a day and age when entire completed films are deemed more valuable as a tax write-off. How does this run the gauntlet?
Well, is it possible then that everyone's that's going, oh, I wish I could have seen Batwoman, would see it and go, they were right. You know what?
Honestly,
they were right.
That was my call from the get-go. I was
What?
like, that Batgirl just, I mean, I know you got to see him before you truly judge, but like, that sounds like dog. Like, Batgirl just sounds like...
See, I disagree. I think
I've never seen a Batgirl incarnation where I was like, ooh, that was pretty good.
So here's the thing, though. I do think that character could lend itself, could be a great movie, right? You've got the daughter of the police commissioner who is also the masked vigilante.
Sure,
maybe.
Sure, anything.
It's
could
absolutely
be.
possible.
Who would have thought?
Do I think
who would have thought Lego Movie would
That's
be
what
good,
I'm saying.
right?
Who would have
So-
thought Barbie would make 1.5
So,
billion?
like,
I think there's something there for
sometimes,
Batgirl.
You know, Any Given Sunday, right? But
I want to see
Also,
the Batgirl
also a
movie.
good movie.
no, I just meant the concept
Oh.
of Any Given Sunday. Somebody can win, right? Anybody can win.
I want to
But-
see it though.
But right, if somebody had given me like a sketchy DVD in a back alley and said, it's called Madam Web. They never released it. And I took it home and watched it. I would be like,
That
well, I
tracks.
get it. It's a bummer for everyone involved, but
Right.
or maybe
Yeah.
not. No, I guess what a
I don't think that it would have
what a
been.
gift.
I don't. I
You
don't.
got paid and nobody had to see it.
Right.
I don't think you should be able to write movies off for tax write-offs. I just don't think you should. I think there should be a law against it.
I don't care.
I just feel like of all the laws that we need, that's
for
pretty
sure.
low on my priority
No, for
list.
sure. But I mean, we're talking about art here, and sometimes art works and sometimes it misses. And I think to have all hundreds of artists working on these movies and then be like, oh well, it didn't turn out that well, so let's just write it off for a tax write-off. Like years of work and hard labor
We've had this discussion.
Can we write off parts of movies? Like, can we write off just the dance scene in Spider-Man 3?
now there are exceptions
I
to the rule,
don't,
but
guys. I have so much to say.
I know.
About we don't have time for these moral quandaries. Let's get to something we can all agree on.
yeah,
It's as I think as all of us are of age,
to drink.
where we grew up, or at least we were adults in Tom's case, when the Batman movies were coming out. And Batman Forever, I think, is a fun, good time with the movies.
I love Batman Forever.
But then we get to Batman and Robin, and you're like, how did Warner Brothers look at this and be like,
Okay,
we're good
but
to go?
This movie makes Batman and Robin look like Citizen
That's
Kane.
my point.
Now, retroactively, now that we see what bad superhero movies can be,
Yeah.
I mean, they were trying to make it for kids. They were the other Batmans were too dark. Forever corrects, and they're like, no, let's make this like really for kids.
in retrospect, not that dark.
Sure.
Well,
yeah,
of course.
89
but-
and 90 and Returns, not that dark.
Right. But it's all relative to the time.
Yes,
but then
yes,
they kept
yes.
going like more Happy Meals, more kids' toys. It's like kids. So they went into the cartoonishness
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
But Joel Schumacher knew what he was doing. He was trying to make a Saturday morning cartoon in live action. Like this movie is trying to be serious.
Yeah, it is crazy. This is the whole thing, right? Sony can't. Well, they can, right?
They've done it. They started
But
it.
I mean, they can use
Oh,
Spider-Man.
That's the thing I
I
was going to
think
ask
so,
you. This is
right?
what I was going to ask. Does Sony not have the rights to Spider-Man? I thought they
I
had
don't-
the rights to
I
Spider-Man.
think there's some sort of deal in place
Yeah.
that, like, if Marvel being the we, if we're going to
Disney Marvel.
right
Yeah.
to make, if the MCU is going to have Spider-Man in it, then you need to leave it alone.
Okay.
Because we've seen what you do with Spider-Man, and you are not to be trusted.
Well, in
They're like, what, 2 for all of them? Spider-Man 1 and 2 are good movies.
I think
I
Spider-Man
thought that-
1, 2, and Amazing.
The
Amazing
first
is-
Amazing
oh,
Spider-Man
okay.
was solid. It just didn't need to exist because we didn't need another Spider-Man origin story.
Oh, sure,
right?
sure. Yes.
Like,
I
yeah.
feel like maybe unless they can't use Spider-Man, do they feel like Tom Holland is their Spider-Man?
Well, that's what I thought
based
they were
on the
doing.
timeline, then I
So
would have
no,
to say
the timeline for this is Andrew Garfield.
I don't.
So this is 2000.
this is 2003.
But if you look at where's Richard Parker? That's all Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Right.
The whole thing. So
But, like,
it's-
that
But it
movie-
can be anyone else.
no,
We
it
haven't-
could.
yeah.
But I mean, like, if we're looking at the 3 Spider-Men that we have right now,
No, this lines up to be Tom Holland when he's
Yeah.
in high school because this is 20-something years before. So when he was in Civil War, he would have been a high school kid. This lines up for Tom Holland, and that's. But then they never say the character's name, like they can't cross it over.
they never say that. You know who else? Who others? Whose name they don't say? Also, May.
Right? They never
I
say
never
the
say
two.
So
May.
here's my theory. I think they cannot do anything that paints the MCU into a corner.
Sure.
And so I mean I think they're contractually forbidden. So they dance around it.
So
but they
MCU
never,
has the say, even though Sony has the rights.
Yeah.
They've made a deal to where only MCU can use those characters because this movie's ridiculous in the way they dance around the name thing.
But they
it's
call
so
him.
bad.
But they
Yeah.
call. But I guess the MCU we never see a Ben
no,
Parker.
we
Right.
have. They just
Yeah.
Wow.
An Amazing Spider-Man film came
Yeah.
out and it comes out 9 years after this is taking
Oh,
place.
is that right?
It
Yeah,
comes out in
he's a high
2012.
schooler.
Oh, okay.
So like
okay.
yeah, like
It's
so they're-
totally trying to
Wedge
tie into
itself
MCU, but
into-
not.
I think
they don't want it to,
I
right?
think the goal is, and it's adorable. It's Sony. You're adorable. Is that like, well, if we do this and it's good, then
tie it
let
in.
me
The
stop you
MCU
right there. Will bring
And Kevin
it.
Feige goes, yeah, that's fine. You'll do that, and if it's good, it will tie in. Go for it. Anything that doesn't use our rights, yeah.
So what? So they could have made a Spider-Woman movie, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Apparently.
And
Why
why
didn't they do
not?
that? It seems like
This woman's superpower is driving cars.
But okay,
Go.
here's the thing: is they have these Spider spin-off movies. They've been Venom,
Villain
Craven,
movies.
Morbius. Kind of. Well, see, Venom and Morbius walk that line, right?
But still,
But Craven, Madam, like these are with the exception of Venom, the fringiest of fringe Spider-Man characters.
That's
Like,
all they got.
that's what the rights are to.
but they have Spider-Woman. They can make a Jessica Drew movie.
And it seems like they went, well, people won't accept a Spider-Woman right out the gate. We have to set it up. Why? What are you...
Let's set it up with a movie that will ensure we'll never make a Spider-Woman movie. Let's put them in these
And I'm
suits for
sure
one flashback.
somebody
That's
probably went,
crazy.
How insane is that?
probably said, like, oh, cool. So, yeah, last third, final act, they're going to be Spider-Woman. No. Never.
Remember that dream from the beginning? We'll flash back to that 8 or 9 times. Same scene, yeah?
I don't think that's true.
I think
Oh,
we
sorry,
did it
2 or
twice.
3 times.
And there's more footage because I've seen footage of
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney.
No, that's her in that close-up, that one close-up.
No,
They're
no,
just zoomed on her.
No.
I've seen footage of Sydney Sweeney, too.
I've seen footage of her descending on a web upside down that you don't see in this movie.
That's in the movie. That's the
I don't
close-up
remember
of her.
seeing that.
When she's upside
Yeah,
down.
but he's saying there's a full scene of her like
No,
dropping.
Yeah.
you
from the
saw
ceiling.
the behind the scenes where she's doing that, but that scene in the movie is zoomed in on her upside down. That
She
is
flips
that.
over even.
That's
Because
her-
it's all
that-
cut up like a...
Right.
That is
dream.
the scene you've seen. It's just you saw what would have been cool, like seeing the whole thing. But,
Sure.
But in that flashback, he sees Spider-Woman, the Sydney Sweeney version, Jessica.
Julia.
Julia.
Yeah, it's
So
so
it's
here's
Julia.
like her name.
But they changed her name in this.
they changed her name in this
So then
for
what's
no
the, wait a minute,
reason.
So what's the hold on? So now not only do we have this limited amount of characters we can use, they're changing their names?
Yes, her name in the comics is Julia Carpenter.
Okay, I think we should dive into the plot of the movie.
I think that's part of the problem, right? It's like, why you have this exact costume, the exact look of this character. Nope, her name is Julia Caldwell. But what? Why? Yeah. So Dakota Johnson is this.
Paramedic who hates saving people.
Well, I mean,
hates
you got
life.
we got to start in the
Peru.
jungles. We're in Peru.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so the whole jungle thing is also okay. So this is Jessica Drew, the Spider Woman that one of my favorite characters, one of the best costume designs kind of ever. Is her origin story is she gets infected by her parents who are bad people, and she gets spider powers. She becomes Spider Woman. They just take that for Cassandra Webb, who is Madam Web, and they just
Well, so
utilize that for her.
they wanted to dance around the fact that Madam Web is blind and paralyzed, and so they changed her backstory to
Yes.
say that, oh, the mom was trying to save her from this.
But I don't
then-
have a neurological disease.
Oh my god. So yes, she is searching for this spider in Peru, and she finds it. She's got this partner who is Ezekiel Sims, who is a character in the comics created by J. Michael Straczynski, and he is also looking for the same spider. Of course, the mom finds the spider
Under
and
the ruse of being her security.
yes, correct.
Would be interested to hear how he put an ad in the paper for security. And it got, but that's
It's security
I'll
detail.
say it. That is nitpicky. That's not one of my main.
These are the
problems.
questions you start to ask yourself when a movie's really
This,
bad.
I will say this is the thing, right? About like, okay, that one, write it off, no problem.
Right.
But when they start piling up,
Yes.
every little thing becomes this massive pile.
Yes.
Of
But now this character is an amalgamation of two characters.
Oh, it is?
Moreland.
Oh, sure. Morlun and
And-
Ezekiel Sims.
Yeah, so instead
who
of-
was like in Straczynski's run on Spider-Man, which was kind of up and down. He does create these two characters. One is like basically we find out that there's this web, and Peter Parker is at the center of this web, and all of these different spider characters are all tied to him. They can't use Peter Parker, so
Web Force.
the web of kind of. I think we kind of see this in Spider-Verse. I think it is kind of brought up in Spider-Verse.
But
It's kind of like how Flash has the Speed Force.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Ezekiel helps him in the comics here
For a while.
from Morloon.
Yes,
but,
initially, yes.
But here they make Ezekiel and Morloon
Yeah.
the same
Yeah,
character.
Morloon is basically eating spider people.
So, have we ever seen a situation where a movie actually drives down the price of the first appearance of a major character?
Probably Morbius.
No, that one's never going down. Madam Web could. Secret Wars, which is where Julia Carpenter debuts, very well could.
Yeah.
So she finds the spider, and Ezekiel turns on all of them, takes the spider, and then we see these spider people.
Which is where we learn that Peter Parker is culturally appropriating his costume.
Exactly what I thought. It's exactly what I thought. Is they show up
He's
in
canceled.
He-
Except, I think they're American. They speak
perfect
perfect English, so maybe not.
for people that have never been to America.
Well,
or,
now that's our bias, right?
I guess
maybe
that's true.
they just do this and
Maybe
then
we speak perfect spider Peruvian?
Yeah.
Well, no, they get in their little costumes, hop around, do their thing, and then head back to their
And then later the guy's
loft.
dressed in normal clothes. He's like, yeah, hello, I would be here to teach you how
Right.
to... I'm like, wait, this is the
It is
indigenous
wild
Peruvian spider guy?
that they double down on the red and black like costume.
And it looks gross.
It does.
You
look
know what's
gross.
wild is seeing the same guys go up and down from the tree 6 times. Did you notice that they just kept replaying
Oh yeah,
the
it was
same?
like it
Yes.
was like on the TV series version of V, where they didn't have the money like the miniseries, and
Yeah.
so they just kept recycling the same shot of
Oh,
a
yeah.
ship landing.
It's like the
every time.
TV movies of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, look, we can film in like 6 locations and get this guy on the side of a building, and we're just gonna film for like 10 minutes at a time, and we'll just cut it up and
Yeah.
put it in these different movies.
CGI in this is real bad.
Everything is real bad.
I mean, I know, but
So she has the baby,
where
and then dies.
it just like pops out.
gets
Boop.
yeah,
shot.
like
How-
there's more to the having a baby than like,
you like
it
when he
just
popped out
it
of
just
the-
coming out.
She's like, boop.
How do Peruvian spider people get a baby with no birth certificate or passport out of Peru and back to America?
and also develop the pictures on her camera and write the
Yes.
names.
Oh, I was waiting until we got to that. I was
I
like,
couldn't-
but, I was
I couldn't
like,
let
but, yeah. When as soon as they showed the picture at the end, I was like, it's clearly taken the day that she died because
Yeah.
they're wearing the same clothes.
correct.
And then
Correct.
on
and
the
she's
back,
like got the spider in her hand. She's like, look.
And you could argue, okay, they dropped her off at an orphanage with this case. They developed the photo, but it has their names written on the back. So the spider people didn't go like, oh, Ezekiel Sims, he killed your mom.
Well, that's
be on the lookout.
But there's also the other, she's got, like you said, she's got this briefcase full of spider stuff, right? All the research her mom was
Yes.
doing, and it looks like she has gone through this book multiple times.
It looks like
And
she's
then
never
she finds,
gone through
Let-
it.
Well,
She
that's what I'm
goes-
saying. But we know that she has.
She goes, let's see, spider people. Los Arachnis, I've never heard of that. You never went one word further?
But also, if she has this book that has her mom's, these pictures and everything in it, she never saw the picture of her mom and Ezekiel until the moment Ezekiel
this
starts
mov-
attacking.
This movie plays it like she has this case of secret stuff from her mother,
Yeah.
who died in childbirth,
Correct.
and spent 33 years studiously not touching it.
Correct.
Like having
I'm not going to bother
Yes,
with it.
I'm winding my way through the foster system, and because we all know this is, I think, an unspoken problem in this world of how difficult it is for white babies to get adopted.
Totally.
Oftentimes, they
wor-
just
it's
no
impossible.
no one wants to adopt a white infant. That never occurs.
Nope.
It's so rare.
Correct.
And so she was forced to be into the foster system.
Okay, so so first of all, we see Adam Scott, and she keeps calling him Ben.
Ben Parks and Rec.
Right. But they do this thing with his like uniform where he
That says paramedic,
right.
not Parker.
So I keep looking at it, and I was like,
Yeah.
why are they hiding it?
right.
Like, and
I
then
thought that
I
too. They were
realized,
trying to hide
oh,
Parker because they couldn't use it or something. No, it says paramedic.
It says paramedic.
Yeah.
But so are Cassie and Ben like former boyfriend and
Seems like
girlfriend.
they were friends with benefits or something. Because she's like, he found someone serious. And I
But
thought
then
they-
she says, "You're the sister-in-law." Somebody says, "Oh, you're the sister." And when they go to Mary Parker, who for comic nerds is the mother of Peter Parker, when they say to Cassie, "Oh, you're the sister-in-law." So did Ben?
Well, she has to be the sister-in-law, so Peter will still have the Parker name.
No.
No,
They-
Ben's
they
sister
say that
is
to
Peter's
Cassie.
mom.
They do? Are you sure?
Look. That's
I
what I
don't-
look. I thought somebody looked at Cassie and said, "Oh, you're the sister-in-law."
No.
No, I think
so
they
they
said
say
it
that
to
to
the
Mary?
to Mary.
Emma Watts or Emma, not Emma Watson.
Roberts.
Emma Roberts is in this movie. Like, if they were friends with benefits, what the hell is she doing there? Like, why are they still? It's a very weird to somehow get Cassie and Ben in the same movie.
Well, that's what they were. It's such a forced way to
Yeah.
cram in a Parker.
That,
And
like-
like Madam Web isn't supposed to
No.
be related to these.
Cassie and Madam Web is like this. She is kind of like a mentor to Peter
Yeah.
Parker early in Peter's
But when
career
he's
as
born,
Spider-Man.
she doesn't have a backstory. But
No.
she dated Ben.
No.
Like, that's what I mean. They're like, we have only this few select
because they have
characters.
this
We
moment
to-
where they're sitting there talking, eating, and he's like, "Hey, I met someone."
and it seemed like she's like, oh, we can't mess around anymore. Was the vibes I
That's
got.
the vibe. And then I heard the sister-in-law line. I was like, "Wait,
But his sister-in-law.
that makes sense. That Mary would
Mary,
be
yeah.
the sister-in-law.
That makes sense.
But yeah, and then he won't say her name.
She goes, "What's her name?" He acts weird, and then she goes,
Oh, it's that serious."
And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? What is this dialogue? What's
Why?
happening?"
it was the most ridiculous use of not being able to say the characters'
I
names.
tell you all the names of the women I have flings with.
Yeah.
But not the one that I want to marry at some point. Yeah, so
So there's a car accident. She tries to save the guy, falls in the water.
correct. And then her powers start to kick in.
Yeah, what's that all about? Why does falling in the water activate?
I believe it's called a plot device.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in other superhero movies. I'm thinking about like Superman, where well, it's maybe more or less Smallville. I don't think they do it in the movies, but like when he's in a stressful situation,
That would make
a
sense.
power kicks in.
If you weren't a paramedic.
Correct.
Has she not? This
Who
is the
is
first
like-
stressful situation.
Yeah, right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like it should have came out like she.
And
we
I
should find out.
normally, in those situations, I take it as like it's a power he had but didn't realize he had
Yeah.
until he needed to use it.
Right.
Where
Well, it's-
where
it's,
this seems to imply that somehow it like
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it like jump started her
She
power.
says she's like 33, right? She says
Yeah.
her age. I mean,
yeah,
that's
in her early
in superhero terms.
Well, I think
That's a long time to have a power and it never.
with Superman, the theory is it's always he hit puberty.
Sure, yeah.
and then his power started.
But he had
kicking
been
in.
using it and like not understanding them, so we should have found out that she's like, that's why I've been able to blah 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 as a
That's
paramedic
why I
for
got.
years.
That's why I
Like,
got the lottery numbers.
You always seem to know where to go.
Exactly,
or
like that's
something.
in a better written movie. And speaking of writers, so these
Oh,
writers,
boy.
Matt Sazama and Burt
These-
Sharpless,
Can I say real quick? Hollywood is weird.
The way
because
who
you
keeps
just,
getting work.
You just fail upwards.
do you think it's like a blackmail thing where they had a party one time and they just saw something?
because they saw Amy Pascal, they're like,
So-
"We're writing all your bad movies."
Gods of Egypt,
Terrible,
The Last Witch Hunter, starring Vin Diesel,
terrible,
Dracula Untold,
not terrible, not good,
25% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That
so
doesn't mean anything.
pretty terrible. Morbius,
terrible,
and the Power Rangers reboot,
not
These guys
ter- not
haven't made
terrible.
one successful movie.
but
Why-
successful
Power Rangers-
money-wise.
Power Rangers was
Work.
successful, wasn't it?
They never made another one.
That's true.
I mean,
that's fair.
I don't
They-
think
they-
critically it was good.
They
Oh,
did not
okay.
make a Power Rangers movie, so they could only make
Make one.
Yeah.
There wasn't like an auteur involved that
Right.
was like, I think this is as far as the Power
Oh, we
Ranger
could tell
stories.
We could make Zordon
go.
and Rita lovers, and it'll be fine.
and Madam Web. So those are their 6 films, and it's just there's a track record here, and I don't understand because you look at the writing in this movie and you're like, oh, this is real bad, and you see that and you're like, oh, this checks out. But yeah, the question is, why are they still? But I think they're producers too, so maybe they got the dough.
I mean, if it's all on the level, my guess would be they're very cheap, very fast. They don't care what they're, if the
They're not
studio,
fighting.
Yeah, studio
Yeah.
goes, hey, we're gonna change all this. They go, yeah, it's fine, go ahead.
Well, I got that check right.
No pushback, and maybe they're nice fellas. You know what I mean? Like
But
true,
that's-
like
that's just not how Hollywood
I-
works.
yeah.
So like the money people,
apparently it is.
But the money people have to be going like, we got to get a hit here. Like, what are we doing?
But I do think maybe there is a level of just it's like such low risk. If Gods of Egypt crosses that line.
like
it's
maybe-
cool.
You
Yeah, we
mean
did
like
it.
if there's a number that they have to get to?
Well, like Gods
yeah.
of Egypt was not like a huge hit movie.
Is that Ridley Scott?
No,
But like
no,
maybe
no.
with its international box office, it ekes out a win.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, that wouldn't make
Alex
sense.
Proyas.
Oh well,
Like we have
can't
to
all be the Crow.
We have
I
to
know.
earn $50 this month. Well, those guys can get us 8. You know, like
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah, there
no
may be some
problem.
accounting thing where it's like, okay, they've done it what we expected. But
Right,
it's
right,
just,
right.
I had to take it down to $50 so my brain could like.
But these movies could be making hundreds of millions of dollars opening weekend.
It's crazy to think the same studio that put out Spider-Verse is the same studio that is doing these movies.
And it's the creatives
Ooh,
involved.
but you know,
they don't,
maybe too. Spider-Verse, they say, we want you guys to do another one. All of those people go, well, now it costs this much. Maybe
yeah.
with these guys, they can never do that.
But I mean, like, that's the thing is, like, if they have the rights to use Miles Morales, Jessica Drew, Peter B. Parker, they have all of these spider characters. Spider-Man 2099. I'm sure there is somebody out there that can do a Blade Runner knockoff, right? In the look, in the feel, and just make it a Spider-Man movie. Like, the old MCU stuff. Like, hey, we want to do Blade Runner, but with Spider-Man. And that's the old MCU way, right?
Right,
Like, we want
yeah.
swingers, but
Well,
with superheroes in it. We wanted the
Right.
Rocketeer with superheroes
But
in it.
also, forget the comic book, who you have to know or anything. Like with the characters, it's girl Spider-Man.
That's it.
Like that's people who don't know who don't like know the. I know Spider-Man. I don't know anything else about the comics.
Spider-Woman.
This is a woman Spider-Man.
It's in the title. Like,
Cool.
yeah, it's not the...
Madam Web almost feels like you would have started with that and then seen a preview and it goes, but no, she's not that.
Yeah.
But it is connected to Spider-Man. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So she shoots webs.
It's-
No.
I
It's
mean,
just her name.
In theory, what they're trying to do is, like, they're trying to Nick Fury it. They're saying Madam Web is connected
Sure.
to all the spider people.
And that's
all
why
the
Nick Fury was the first movie in the
That's
Exactly.
correct. That's exactly it.
But they thought this could be connective tissue. But when you put out a garbage movie, people are never going to go, oh, I can't wait to see how she connects all the...
And I don't think that there's like a show Bible, right? Like I don't think they've already scripted it all out of like, here's who these people are that interconnect. So when you write your movies, you know where you're going. I don't think there's anything like that.
But didn't we learn
There's
from
no roadmap.
DCEU? Like, how are they not? I mean, they just had to scrap everything, get a whole new regime in charge. Like, why is Sony and Amy Pascal not sitting here going like, this doesn't work?
is their plan to get James Gunn.
Oh, see, he needs to go fix all of them.
Yeah.
They're combing through his tweets.
He loves
Yeah,
doing
right.
that.
They tried to get
Yeah.
canceled again.
Give me something, will
so they
ya?
can afford them.
Do you remember she drowns, and she dies and she comes back to life.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
And then she goes they do the whole she has her first vision, right? And she's like, "Oh, I already did this." Each bin. And he's like, "Why are you being like that?" And she's like, "I just want to get home and watch. We're in 2003." She says, "We'll get home and watch
Idol.
American Idol is still on. I mean,
That's true.
but it's like
That's a
so
good point.
obviously that they're being like, let them know what year we're in.
Well, it's also the needle drops are some of the worst
they're bad.
needle drops I think I've ever
So
heard.
one of the things when she goes home, what does she end up watching? Do you remember
Christmas Carol?
Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
And then which is great because it was so neat. I will say this: it was neat to see all the shots of New York at Christmas time because it's so beautiful.
sure.
And so all the shots of Rockefeller Plaza and the tree and
There is nothing like it.
nothing. I mean, this movie is set at Christmas time.
Not at all.
There is not one Christmas
Wait,
decoration.
This
None.
movie's set at Christmas time?
She's watching
No.
a Christmas Carol
You
on
think-
television.
Okay, but
It's got to be like watching Night of the Living Dead in a horror movie.
That's
It's public domain.
I wonder if it is.
Yeah.
like
I don't
that-
think it is.
You don't think that version is?
there's
though?
no other
No.
mention of Christmas. It can't
no,
be.
that's
they
from
were
like
just
the
doing it.
50s.
They
It
have
should
like a
still be-
cookout.
Yeah, they were
I mean,
having a
they're-
cookout.
Yeah, it's not Christmas. There's no way.
She is watching.
No, you're
a
absolutely-
I know,
Christmas
but
movie.
Yes.
the bad writers are
Yeah.
trying to say, here is the ghost of things to come. You can't change. Like they're trying to use it
Oh,
as
right.
a character
Oh.
thing,
Oh.
but it's not Christmas time. That's
Right.
how bad this movie
Right,
is.
no, that's what I'm saying. Is that
Right.
like there's not one thing in this movie set at Christmas time.
No.
They're not wearing coats. They're
No.
wearing light jackets.
Yeah, it's like fall.
yeah.
Yeah, but it is. I did think that. I was like, is this version of A Christmas Carol like her cozy? like movie that she
No,
likes to
it's just
watch.
it's just a very lazy exposition. That's
Yeah.
all it is
But I
this-
mean, like, okay, which is fine. But why is she watching that movie?
I know
It's like, but my point is like,
Joe, do I
that's-
need to go through
No, no,
the
no.
writer's
but
previous
I'm
films?
saying like that's definitely a choice to think. No, A Christmas Carol is like her comfort movie.
It's like a time travel movie using Back to the Future, or like they're watching a movie that explains the rules. And these guys said, "Well, what can we do about people like seeing things that are yet to
What's
come?"
crazy is that in this movie, in this scene, that means she had to go find that movie. Be like, I'll watch this.
No, it has to be on TV. It just has to be.
In the middle of the fall.
It's a fun,
nobody
funny
watches.
thing.
Nobody plays A Christmas
That's
Carol
what-
in the middle of fall.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, exactly.
Is the baby showers before? Where are we at? Baby shower.
Baby shower is before this. Yes.
When they go, okay, a couple things. She walks up. Her not chief. What would you call the head?
Captain.
Yeah, Captain.
He goes, next time you want to go swimming, get in a pool. And she's like, you're a piece of ass. And then Ben
Very
says,
nonchalant.
Ben goes like, yeah, you died today. And then the chief guy goes, sounds like there's a story to that.
We're not gonna tell you what it
But
is.
you
though.
know it.
Well, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, Matt. You left out a very important detail. Ben hands her a Pepsi, and
From
she said,
2003.
She said, "I would like a beer," and he goes, "Oh no, there's rules against that because you died within 24 hours. But here,
Yes.
have this Pepsi."
He says,
Wink, wink.
Well, they're drinking like Mountain Dew Code Red at the firehouse.
Yeah.
It's like, how many Pepsi products can we fit into this
Oh,
movie?
I think whenever you make product placement should be kind of in the background. It should
Right.
be like
Needs to be
there, but not there.
organic.
Product placement should never be a plot point.
this was Wayne's World.
Pepsi's
No,
the
no.
I'm saying like
hang on. Like product placement is a plot point. I would just like to counter argument. E.T.
That's fair.
Okay. But
That's fair.
But
It's
by
Save
and
the Dying
large,
Candy.
it's gonna suck.
it has to work, and that we're talking about the climax of a movie, a dramatic climax, or a throwaway of here. Let me put these
Pepsi
ETs
kills the
on
bad
ground.
guy.
That's what I'm saying. Like you cannot make it cannot be that big. Okay, this movie had an $80 million budget. They needed money that bad that Pepsi had to be the entire movie. Like
It's. I mean, it could be any worse than Superman getting thrown through a Sears.
I'm
I mean,
okay
but
with
that's
that.
bad.
I thought that was
IHOP
like.
and
I mean, I know you can see it and everything, but like it seems. But there would be a Sears. Like
Would there be?
in a.
in a town.
I guess in a
In a
small
town?
town. Okay.
I don't know if there's
Also,
a world.
the IHOP got destroyed, but
If there's a world where every single person on the planet drinks Pepsi except Sydney Sweeney, I believe, who never opens her Pepsi. She carries it around.
Yeah, she's a Coke person.
She goes.
Yeah, right,
she
right.
like goes to open it. I don't know if it's like a prop can or something, but she never does it.
Yeah.
also,
Pepsi said-
At the baby shower. At the baby
Yeah.
shower, why would she put in a blank piece of paper?
oh, who's
How about
this?
just
Oh, that's
not
mine.
put the paper in? Would
And
you,
then they could
you
still
imagine?
they could still say like it could have been at the end of the game, and they go, "Wait, we didn't get one from you," and they can still do the whole because it was kind of funny when she's like, "My mom's dead."
But do you realize that this movie, throughout the entire thing, is written like no humans have ever conversed in the history of real humanity?
It's-
when someone says, "My mom's dead," people would go, "Oh, I'm so sorry," whatever. They look at her like, awkward.
Yeah, like, ew.
Like, no
How
one,
dare you?
no humans interact like that. All of them would go, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like you'd be a normal human
Well,
being.
and some of it is, I think that scene is supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
It's just the director didn't tell the actors.
Well, I
that.
think
There are-
Dakota Johnson knew that.
I
think-
don't know. Like the like, while it's fun to pick apart the writing, the acting in this movie is bad.
It is
It's
bad.
like
Oh, sure.
like you can tell, you can just watch them losing their will to live as they go through this film.
Oh,
And-
Dakota Johnson is like, and I've only seen her. I think she's really good in Suspiria. I liked her in. There was something else.
I liked her in that streaming movie we watched her in when she was the girlfriend. Remember the guy, the writer director who was. She plays the girlfriend. They meet at a party because I don't know, she needs the tampon, and he hands her one through the door.
I have no idea what that is.
God,
You
I'm
weren't
not-
here, I don't think,
Oh,
for that one.
okay.
It was a streaming. Maybe it was an
Dodged a
Apple
bullet.
movie.
Yeah.
No, it was really
Oh,
good.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
cute.
yeah,
It was a
yeah.
cute movie.
Yeah,
The
God,
writer director is the star, and he's
Right.
younger, and he's at a party. He's like a caterer or whatever
Yeah.
at like parties.
Oh, Party
Yeah.
Down. Great show.
Yeah, and she's a mom.
Yeah.
Also with
Hey, Adam Scott.
Adam Scott,
I think he makes it through this fairly
Adam
unscathed.
Scott is the only one in this movie
Yeah.
who is
But like
fine.
her energy level, it's and then
boy.
and then the problem is, especially with when she gets the other girls involved.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they meet her where she's
Yeah.
at.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
You guys
there
are
are
so annoying.
I gotta
there
tell
are
you,
scenes in this movie where it, honest to God, looks like they're filming a rehearsal.
Yeah.
Like it just feels
I-
like a walkthrough.
Yeah, it's bad.
I understand the appeal of Sydney Sweeney, but she's awful.
But
Oh,
don't
yeah.
use her. What? Why cast
That's
Sydney Sweeney?
also
I'd like to
that's
ask you.
mind-boggling.
I would like
Is
to ask you.
I think her and Zendaya are probably the two most popular actors on that show. Jacoby, whatever his name is, right? He's on
yeah,
that show.
Jacoby, yeah,
Jacoby,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Jacoby Johnson.
Jacoby Johnson.
Jacoby
yeah.
Jacoby Johnson.
Yeah, right. Sydney Sweeney, I think, is more popular than Zendaya right now.
No.
In this moment,
Especially
like
after that movie. Anyone
What
but
movie?
you.
Well, I will
Oh.
say I did not know who Sydney Sweeney was.
Really?
Before this movie.
But she's in
Which is
Euphoria.
not
Yeah,
necessarily.
she-
I mean,
yeah.
But that
She's-
movie is blowing up. It's still in
Oh,
theaters.
Yeah, no,
mind
that
you,
movie's doing very well.
mind
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
2 months ago it came out.
Yeah.
and it's
Also, cast that guy as Hal Jordan already.
Oh, he's great. Glenn Powell.
He's
great.
fantastic.
He's great.
Yeah.
Charismatic as all get out.
Yeah.
But the point is, and I get that she's like a high schooler, and props to them for
I did not
making-
get that for
Well, no.
about 20 minutes.
I get that, right? But when it's like, okay, so you're not being gross. That's good, She is a high schooler, but why cast Sydney Sweeney?
You change her hair color. You put her in glasses. You put her in oversized clothing. So, like,
But I think
Well-
when they cast her, she wasn't that big of a deal.
But then also, and you're right.
maybe.
But they put her in the clothes, but then also like thigh-high
Thigh-high
It's like,
stockings.
what are
The
we
whole time she's
doing?
in a short skirt, and you're like, why are you wearing this?
I did not
it's
understand.
2003.
also
Kevin.
correct. She looks like Britney. She's
I
dressing
know, but
like
she's
Britney
wearing
Spears.
she's totally covered up, but then has a short
And it's
skirt.
crazy because I finally figured out that these girls are supposed to be like extremely obvious archetypes: rich girl, nerd, and then smart girl.
Oh, you picked up on that?
but not right away because like it just didn't. I just thought there were nothing. I just thought it was like three girls.
The only one that I thought gave a throughout this entire thing
the smart one.
Was the smart one.
She was the best
Yes, she is one of the amazing. Actually, she debuts in like Amazing Fantasy 15, but a different one.
I guess-
not the real one.
I
but a
know
different one.
all their dialogue was like,
Isabela Merced.
Yeah, I thought she held her own. I thought she was really good.
I don't know. I guess just like I wasn't. I didn't know I was supposed to know that her being like science, saying the word science. I don't know, man.
She had a nerd shirt on,
Yeah.
just like Peter Parker does in his
man.
movies. Nerd
Dumb guy.
T-shirt. So I think she becomes Spider Girl in the comics. Her character.
It's so confusing because she has a different name now, but she does kind of takes that role as the female spider character. They take
I think it's Aranya.
yes,
Is it? Yeah.
that's who she becomes.
But then she later goes by Spider Girl, I think.
I don't remember. Like that's the problem is they're using like again these fringe characters.
Yeah.
There are the Julia Carpenter character who becomes Madam Web in the comics, like much later.
But she's a Spider Woman.
Yes.
And then becomes Spider
She's
Madam Web.
Madam Web.
And the other one is a Spider Woman as well.
yes, but then there's also Jessica Drew, who is
So there has to be something to where MCU is like, don't use that one. If they're not using them
Yeah,
specifically,
maybe.
they're holding them. There's
I
got to be
don't know.
certain names they've got held out.
yeah.
They just have
May and Peter Parker are two of them for
I would.
What's his name? Oh, what's his name? Oh.
But it's also his middle name is Ben. Peter's middle name is Benjamin.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no mention of like we named him after you.
Well, they'd play that name game, and they have one person guess, and then they're like, "Girl that we don't know, do you have a guess?" And
all
I
of a
thought
sudden we're
for sure
back
they're
to
going to
her
say
again.
Peter. Now I do want to give this movie.
She's a Pepsi executive's daughter. Yeah.
I want to give this movie props when it should get them. I thought it was really cool. There's a villain in this movie, And they have this really meta power for him because it's all about time travel and stuff. And his power is that after the movie's filmed, he can, from the future, add in lines.
Oh, is that his power?
I think it must be, right?
I was like, did this character not speak English? Like, it was the
so
ADR
weird.
on his
Real
voice
bad.
was so weird.
I think they had to have changed the entire script after filming because I believe it's the same guy, but almost all of his lines are ADR'd.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was like, oh, he must have a heavy accent. And they're like, well, we have to redub this, because it sounds like someone we've talked about before that has an accent that's trying to push through it to do the American accent thing. But no, it's just like they must have changed complete plot points because they edit when he's talking most times. They don't show him
They
talking.
never show his face.
So it's clearly like they're like, we have to use this footage to now
Right.
rewrite the movie.
and he's this billionaire out to catch Madam Web. And he
doesn't
Madam
know.
Web.
No,
he wants the
Or
girls.
He's trying to get the girls, right?
In fact-
and he has one employee to help him.
well, if
David Mamet's daughter.
when she
Is
said
that for real?
That's
Who
David
that
Mamet's
is?
daughter, yeah.
yeah, she was on Girls, right?
Oh,
She
okay.
was Shoshana. Shoshana.
Sean, yeah.
the woman goes, I can't find the girls, but I found the woman who's helping them. And he goes, I don't care about her.
Yeah, okay. That is the weirdest thing ever that he's like, who's this? And she's trying to stop them, but like she's invincible. Like he's never going to go after Madam Web.
They also so like later in the movie, Dakota Johnson is helping these girls. Ben is watching the girls. Mary goes into labor, and they're driving through the city. There's this whole point where Ezekiel, who is wearing a Spider-Man suit, so it's like the idea that Peter Parker came up with that suit on his own.
Yeah, this
right?
makes no sense because people would have now seen a Spider-Man before Spider-Man existed.
So then Spider-Man shows up. They're like,
he's
wait
a
a minute.
villain. That's what it's horrible. It makes no sense. You can't have him blowing things up around the
J.
city.
Jonah Jameson.
But
Now
he was ahead of the curve.
He's vindicated. He's vindicated because that's the girl's uncle. By the way,
Is that what that
That's
was?
the girl's uncle.
Okay.
Okay,
All
because they
right,
definitely
okay.
say Jonah, and I was like,
Her
Oh,
rich,
I
she's
missed
rich.
that.
She's
Yeah.
rich, and she's let me call my uncle Jonah.
Oh, I
yeah,
totally missed
and then we
that.
see the bugle.
Okay, so
okay, but
she gets on the train.
Who would care if a murderer was after her? The whole part where they're like, we don't got nobody.
Yeah,
Yes,
let's call J. Jonah
absolutely,
Jameson.
dude. This is different. I understand your parents are weird because you're adopted. Well, you're not adopted.
No,
you're your
they're in
dad's
China. They're in
kid.
China.
Different one.
Oh,
the other one.
But this is different. You're being murdered.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I
go
think
ahead,
your
go
uncle,
ahead.
who is the news reporter,
Yeah.
might be interested in
well,
this
and
story.
to be fair, she tries to call, and Dakota Johnson takes her flip phone and throws it out the window and says they can track you on these
No,
things. So-
separate thing.
oh, yeah, I'm just saying, like, for the plot wise.
But in that scene, I thought she was like, you get her to the hot. Tells Ben and Mary, get out of here right now because she's not gonna. He's not gonna be after you. My thought process was, Peter is like this guy knows who Peter is going to be. So he's like if
he's like King Herod.
yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Oh, he's trying to stop Peter from being born.
Yes,
If
that's
he's got
what I thought.
Sure.
Oh,
If he's
that'd
got
have been a good
powers,
movie.
yeah.
You should
Also-
write Gods of Egypt too.
I think there's a version of this movie where Ezekiel Sims is not Black Suit Spider-Man.
Oh, interesting.
They cut from Black Suit Spider-Man doing bad stuff and then cut right back to him in full suit and tie.
When they
business.
get to the subway scene, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And you see Black Suit
Oh, he
Spider-Man.
does. Yeah, you're
I
right.
thought it was the Spider-Man from Peru.
Yeah,
Because
Okay.
the way it's edited,
like trying to protect them.
it looks like there's multiple Spider-Man.
he's, like,
I
moving
thought-
like-
yeah.
yeah.
And so I thought like, oh, they're going to think these guys are out to get him, but they're really here to help them.
I think there's definitely a different cut of this movie because
They-
they cut back to him and he's like calling,
Yeah, in
David
his
Mamet's
suit.
daughter, and he's like in a full suit. It's like, well, you
But
weren't
no
wearing that
shoes.
under.
Well, he never wears shoes.
He's like Dexy's Midnight Runners.
But it was so quick to where it's like, well, where were you wearing the suit? It couldn't have been under it because that suit's tight, the Spider-Man suit. But then where you went and changed, like it was just a weird time
Yeah.
thing where
Oh.
I think it was supposed to head fake the audience. That's him. No, he's protecting the girls in Madam Web and bad guys after him. See, and I think at
Okay.
some point they completely rewrote the script to have it be the same person.
then
Put
combine
the
the
suit on
characters.
for one scene. You see him in the suit without the mask on.
right,
That's
right,
more
right.
than
Now,
Madam
here-
Web gets.
Here's a
Oh boy.
Here's a this is a nitpick, but now it's
No,
too
bring
late.
it.
It's
No,
piled
bring it.
up.
Yeah.
When they get in the car, they're taking Mary. What's her?
Mary.
to the hospital. They all, first of all, they put the pregnant woman in the back. I thought that was kind of like,
that was crazy.
what are you doing?
Yeah, put her in the front.
But then Ben's like getting in. He's not in. They're not started yet. And he goes like, all right, everybody buckle up. And Mary goes, are you serious? Just drive. Like, what the
It's so
And
weird.
also, he's having like this panic moment of like, oh my God, she's having a baby. And I'm like, you're a EMT.
Yes,
You're
right.
a paramedic.
Yes,
And that's not
yes.
even delivered babies.
Wait, the taxi cab. Hold the...
Oh, thank you for bringing that up.
She pries the license plate off of a cab that has its number on the
On the
top.
roof.
And the top, the roof
On the
thing,
roof,
yes.
it lights up.
And if I drive out of here with a stolen car with the plates on, or a car with no plates,
Yes.
I think that's going to
But
attract...
okay, wait. But she takes that cab to the airport and
Yes.
leaves it. And then when she comes
And
back
as a
from the
wanted
airport,
woman flies...
after 9/11, we are only 2 years post
years, yeah.
9/11 at this point.
And she's got an APB out for her.
Yes.
She goes to Peru.
And then when she comes, okay,
And,
which
and don't
I gotta
forget,
tell
when
you,
she gets to Peru, the Peruvian Spider-Man who hasn't seen her since she was still dripping in placenta is like, I knew you'd be back.
I
but
can.
that's because
I
he's
can
some kind of
that's
mystic.
mystical.
He's a
I can,
mystic
I
guy.
can
Yeah,
let that slide, but when she,
They have powers,
so she
you know,
has
they-
to fly from New York to Peru, right? Not a short flight, I don't
No.
think. Has to do her little thing in Peru, flies back to the United States. Also, let's conservatively say it's been 4 days.
Yeah, it's
right?
got to be sometime.
That cab is
Well-
still at the airport.
And then,
Without its license
Without its
plate.
license plate, and she drives that thing back to New York.
but then sees an ambulance and goes, ooh, baby.
Okay,
That's what I want.
Yeah, I would like to know that whole thing where, like, okay, first let's get back to the end of the movie because that's the very end. But
Yeah.
anyway, she saves the girls on the train. She has a vision that Ezekiel's going to come kill the 3 girls. So when they're on the train, she, like a crazy person, is like, "Everybody, you're going to die!" And starts
you know what?
picking
All
them
she has
off.
to do is, I'm a medic with the New York Fire Department. There is an emergency. Everybody off the train.
It worked. I mean, I guess
guess.
her thing worked.
But so she picks them off, and now the cops are after her, and Ezekiel's like on the train, like, no, and they all see him as he goes by. Cops are gonna like arrest her, but then Black Suit Spider-Man comes and kills
all those
whatever, all the cops. They get away, and now she's like, I'm gonna go. This isn't a kidnapping, by the way, but I'm gonna go. But you can't leave and go stay in this forest.
Go stay in the woods.
And she's like, I'll be right back. Couple hours. She
3
leaves
hours.
them
She
there.
says,
3 hours.
She says, "I'll be
3
back
hours.
in 3 hours."
And in this time,
They build a campfire.
Well-
they have nothing, and they know nothing about being outside, but they build a campfire.
but even more impressive, it becomes front page news.
Yes.
oh yeah,
on a
real,
in the time.
newspaper.
real quick on the Daily Bugle.
Because she left him there for like 18 hours. Like, the crazy thing is, she's like, I'll be right back. She leaves him there all day. And then they're like, here, I know how to get out of the forest.
Wait.
That exits right at this diner.
and hang on, when they leave the forest, they don't put out the campfire.
No,
I-
they don't. I thought the same
I was
thing.
just walk away from a campfire.
That's a good thing when you're trying
Isn't
to...
that diner the same name of the diner that Mary Jane's working at in Spider-Man 2?
Oh, I don't know.
Because like, I'm like, they have to. There's something they've got
Is it
to
like
find
4-star diner,
4-star diner,
which is
or
clearly
something.
they just named that thing to game Yelp.
Yeah, right.
But it's not...
Gotcha.
I mean, it's not in the same universe, though, so you can't really... I mean,
No,
I mean, like,
but
this
there
would be
are like
Spider-Man
there are
existing.
I think
Spider-Man
this-
musical cues.
I think this is a pre-existing set that they didn't have to build.
You mean
And
like
so,
the caves?
yes.
They didn't build that. There's no
Right.
way.
So like I think it's just like, oh, we already have a diner set, and
Right.
that's what they used. In the same way that like you see sets get resized, like one of the Wisteria Lane and Desperate Housewives
Sure.
is the same
Isn't
street
it,
as
it's
like
Back to the Future and
Leave It to Beaver and
Oh, the Good Place. They use that set all the time for towns. Isn't that the
Yeah,
Agatha
it's-
one?
Oh,
that's
WandaVision?
Universal.
It's Hill Valley.
yeah, that's Universal Studios. Because I took a backstage
Man,
tour
I'd
of
love-
Universal
I'd love to
Studios.
go through there.
So bummed. I took a backstage tour of Universal Studios, like the actual in LA where they actually film things.
Yeah.
and they had it all set up for the Good Place. But I had never seen The Good Place,
So you couldn't
so
appreciate
I
any of
didn't
it.
realize where we were until I got home and watched the show and was like,
No.
if I had realized where we were at, we would have been taking pictures.
Yeah.
like
Did they
crazy.
call it Hill Valley?
They showed us like you can see the the clock tower and because they repurposed that all. It's the whole place is set up to be quickly repurposed.
Okay.
And so like if you want your courthouse steps to look like small town, they can like in a day like make it look like cinder block, and then they can take it down and make it look like old timey brick, and then take it down.
Interesting.
Like, yeah, and so but they film tons of stuff there.
Yeah.
So they get to the diner, and Madam Web sees the vision of Ezekiel
we're
coming through.
going to sing Toxic. We're going to make Sydney Sweeney
Okay.
look like Britney Spears.
Toxic. So she's in the cab, and the DJ says, here's a brand new song.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a hit. Smash cut to the girl saying, I love this song.
Yeah.
I know all the words. Well, is it a brand new song?
Or is it
And
a hit?
also, Britney Spears was already established at that point. That wasn't her first song.
No.
Toxic
By a
was
long-
not her first song.
No, but
I think it was the lead single off that record.
Well, right, but
but
they
Sydney
would-
Sweeney is dressed like Britney Spears, like in the "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time"
Yeah.
video.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
I mean, she is.
They try when they pull her shirt up.
right?
She is, yeah.
yeah.
Like she's in a private school,
Yes.
and then they modify her outfit to make her
Yeah.
look
Right.
like Britney Spears.
Hey, why? So the Ezekiel comes and kills everybody, right?
And now
then-
this is the diner where they encourage dancing on the table.
It's
You're
fine.
just
Could
allowed
you
to do that
imagine-
for
It's
3
fine.
minutes? Just let these girls dance
yeah.
up on three
no,
girls
it's,
on a
it's
table.
Fun, it's fine.
They're like, hey, this ain't no Waffle House.
Like that. Those employees we
this
all
is a
saw
four-star.
before.
This is a 4-star diner.
They
And
never
then-
cut to employees during that dance sequence ever.
Madam Web goes. I mean, I guess it was a vision, but it very much seems like she goes back in time.
She saved the pigeon.
and then she decides this time I'll drive there because it'll be a little bit slower.
Oh, thank you.
They call
Yeah.
it a shortcut, but that's not.
the girl, like she's
half a mile.
but in her vision, she gets there before, like when she's walking.
Yeah.
right. She gets there before Ezekiel does.
Yes.
In real life, she's like, okay, I'll take the car. I'll get there faster. She gets there slower.
No, I think there it must be an 80-yard line. As they're walking through, the girls go, I thought you said this was a shortcut. And she's like, it is. I think that was to fix that.
but in
Like,
the vision, they're in.
the first time she goes through the woods
She gets there faster
because it's a shortcut.
right. Madam Webb gets through there in her vision, walking,
And she goes, I need to go slower this time.
and now she drives 3 hours around the way. But like it's
Even
ridiculous.
though they say it's half a mile down the road. Half a mile, you could see it.
She drove so long to get there.
and then cuts that truck off to take a turn.
Okay,
like she
this
would have
woman's
taken
driving
anyway.
She's driving through the woods. Drive right through the shortcut.
Here's the thing: you have a movie about someone who has visions, right? And then they
think so.
absolutely reference Final Destination 2
yeah, right.
with this scene.
Yeah.
Well, like the whole log truck, I was like, oh, those are going to pop off. Like that's going to be part of the things that she sees. No.
It's just ridiculous.
She just does something real dangerous for no reason. But the radio is like going staticky, and she's slapping it, going, "Come on, come on!"
Like that's how she's timing it.
What? Is that
Yeah, she's timing it. So like
wow?
So in the vision, she hears
Yeah.
a certain part of Toxic in the diner. So when she's at the campfire, Toxic is just starting.
That song would have certainly been over by the time
Yes.
she took her road trip.
Here's the
is
thing:
point.
the radio station would have cut it off like 30 seconds, not 30 seconds, but like 5 seconds before the song is even over anyway.
The timing is just horrible. We just
I had
it's-
no idea that's what I just
Yeah.
thought she's like. When she just drove as fast as she could, it wasn't like she like stopped and was
Right.
Yeah,
timing it out.
So the way that she saves them is she plows through the diner, runs over Ezekiel
And everybody else in the
But-
diner.
Okay, so Ezekiel has this power where he poisons you if he touches you.
So I think with her, I do think that, which they make no reference of, since she also got bitten by the spider, that she must have some immunity to that poison.
It's like doesn't affect her as much.
yeah, because she does mess with her arm.
I mean, he
she's like,
does-
it hurts.
Yeah,
but
and then she does that, and they go, "What's wrong with your arm?" And she's like, "Nothing,
But then
nothing."
it's-
and then 5 seconds
it
later,
just
she's
gets
like,
better.
"So it's poison."
Yeah, I thought it was just strange how this poison works. Now I know that when he was with Opera Lady, he holds her arm and he's like, "I'm gonna keep holding this until you tell
You
me."
talking
what I
about the
want."
NSA agent?
Yeah.
That's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you want to kill some girls, man? Well, do what you got to do." That also, jumping back a little bit, he gets the NSA agent, gets her password so he can get into this supercomputer that
Batman.
looks at
Dark
everybody,
Knight,
right?
like it's the same.
We had to be post 9/11,
This is
so you can
post.
have
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
The woman at the computer goes, "Now, this is because I'm thinking the whole time, he's like, well, this isn't going to help. You don't have a picture of them. But she says, well, from the best from your memory, this is what they look like.
That's exactly the same.
And it's photos of them.
Pictures
It's
of
photos
them.
of them. Not like
Let me
recreations.
let me
It's-
de-age them and take their masks off, and I will get an exact picture of what they look like. She goes to Peru. We talked about that. She figures out how to use her powers.
she leaves the girls with Ben
Yes.
to protect
And
them.
Ben and Mary.
Now Mary is pregnant and has to go to the hospital. Why do they take the 3
Leave
girls
the
with
girls
them? They
there.
were safe the entire time where no one knew where to find them. And I know they don't know about NSA, whatever. But why would you think, yes, let's all pack them up and bring them in public where they're in danger?
in 2003, and that whole thing was like a thing, right?
What's that?
Like the whole NSA, like cameras everywhere. Like
That's
that
why
was like, but I mean, like that was like a news thing where people were talking about an invasion of privacy. Am I wrong about that?
I guess I
am
wouldn't
wrong?
have necessarily thought, when I walk outside
They're going to get my
I can
face
be
on an ATM
tracked
camera or something.
from everywhere.
I guess I felt like that was like becoming a thing where people were getting
Either way, they're hiding.
Right.
They are
Yeah.
hiding out. Why do they have to go to the hospital? And then they call. He's like, "Oh, it might be a while or whatever." And it's like the ambulance gets there a minute after they leave. They
Yeah, they
literally
weren't-
could have just waited for the ambulance.
Right.
They
Right.
talk about it like they're in the middle of nowhere. Like
Right,
they're like, well, Ben, he's going to be with Mary. They're going to be far away. But then when they
Well,
leave, they're
that-
in Times Square.
But they're in. So if Spider-Man lore, correct me if I'm wrong, Ben and May live in Queens, right?
I mean, they should.
So they're in Queens.
But this is. Oh, is this Ben's house?
Yes.
Okay, she's saying at Ben's house. Got it.
So like this house should be in Queens. They shouldn't get to New York City that fast anyway.
Yeah. Either way, the ambulance. I mean, they.
I guess you could say that Ben and May buy a house in Queens. I guess
this
you could
is
say that.
this is also the around the part where Dakota Johnson teaches them all how to do CPR.
CPR.
Okay, that again, going back to the
It's
writing.
like, well, who's gonna die of a heart attack first?
Check off CPR.
Yeah, right.
And also it's just weird when she was giving the guy CPR when the chief gets killed in the car accident. And again, movie stuff. I know
she
you're not.
caused that accident, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
She stopped him
Yeah.
to talk to him.
Yep.
Let me drive. No, you're crazy. Whatever. He leaves and gets hit by a truck
If
and
she
dies.
had- if she
she
had
didn't
waited.
talk to him,
Yeah.
He'd have made it.
So like, I mean,
Now, that being said, those powers were very new to her.
That's true.
Right,
oh
so-
no,
yeah.
I know. I'm just saying, like in all actuality,
Right.
it sucks
So,
because she caused
If she
it.
had shut her pie hole, he'd have been
Now
fine.
I have gotten past the whole like you can't do real chest compressions in a movie,
Right.
right?
Right.
Although it does seem like
Switch the
use a
body out.
mannequin- but
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, there's-
but she's like doing chest compressions, and then she'll stop and kind of look around and like get back to it, and then even at the end of it. Nothing happens. She just kind of goes like, "All right, buddy, you're all right. You're good."
That was the craziest part, where she's doing chest compressions on that guy, and then out of nowhere she's like, "You're good," and
Yeah,
the guy's
good
like,
enough.
"Thanks," and like gets up and walks
Well,
away.
no,
It's
she goes to she says to the other paramedics, which I'm not sure why they weren't handling this, but she's like, okay, you can move him now into the ambulance. It's like, why don't you like get him ready to go in the ambulance and then try to save him?
when
Like,
she goes,
what?
"Okay, buddy, you're all right."
Yeah.
It's like that's not how that works.
But okay, so CPR is bad in movies, sure.
Yeah.
But then you have a scene where you're going, basically saying, "Hey, remember how we were doing CPR in the movie? We did it bad. You can't stop. Don't ever stop." like I did.
Now, this
20
movie was
minutes
sponsored
earlier.
by Pepsi and the American Red Cross, so I just want to let you know that.
Is that
10 minutes, No, but I mean, it should have been like just stop the movie and have a scene where it's like, if someone's heart stops, you can save them, and if you get tired, you switch out, and then to have the whole climax of the movie be a mirror of that stupid scene,
So bad.
You could have worked that in organically. They could have. And I'm just
Yeah,
saying, it's
for
a horrible
sure.
moment.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So,
So he like attacks them in Times Square. On
and
the way to
again,
the
this is the
hospital.
part where she tells Ben and Mary, "Get out of here now."
Yeah.
Hits
And
him
it's
with
like-
a car again.
Also,
Again.
very bad villain, Ezekiel Sims.
Yeah.
He knows nothing about maybe kidnap the person that the good guys care about, and
Nope.
then maybe because she's like, he won't care about
won't
you.
care about you.
But it's like, you know what? If you just took them and were like,
And, yeah. But so yeah, they go back to this warehouse where they had this massive
the
fire.
car scene. I thought the only cool, clever thing in the movie was she's like, charge the.
Oh, I like
panels.
that. That was- I'm like,
and then,
okay.
And then
I
he's,
mean, it would short out the electrical system
Correct.
of the vehicle she's
But
in, but
movie wise, though, I mean, it was the only thing.
or
Continue.
very possibly not do anything.
Right.
Right. Like,
but movie-wise,
Sure,
movie
sure.
chasing
And
they're
movie logic.
How do we stop this guy hopping from car to car, charge the car so he lands on it and gets electrocuted? I just thought, well, that's something.
they
That's
did
the most
have an
clever thing.
extremely condensed version of the like charge the paddles. Why? There's no time. Like, just do it. But then tells her, then says, we're going to do this thing. Like,
Yeah.
Now you're just showing off. All right, maybe a little. Yeah.
When she crashes out of the parking garage through a billboard onto
Oh yeah,
Ezekiel Sims.
right. And then she's shocked that the ambulance won't run.
Yeah.
Like they
Well,
drive
and-
under a bridge and they're just like, why won't this
but
work?
so was I, because the movie has told me a taxi cab is indestructible, can do anything.
Props to them for on the taxi making the hood a little bit off jar.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I noticed that. I'm like, okay, someone at least didn't make it look
But
like an immaculate.
I do think that's kind of true, right? Like, it's like in an action movie where suddenly someone's out of bullets, and you're kind of like, well, I didn't know you could run out of bullets in this world. Like, cars get destroyed. This is crazy.
Right.
If it looks fine, in my mind, if it seems like it should run fine,
Should.
This movie also does the horrible thing we talk about in movies all the time, where when Black Suit Spider-Man is chasing the girls and then someone else interferes, like the cops, it's like, well, maybe just don't worry about them. Just go kill the ones that are right there that you're trying to kill. We'll kill all these people, but it's like they're right there.
They're right there.
You have crazy powers where you run around, like just run up and snap their
Yeah,
necks
that's all
and
you
be
got to
done
do.
with it.
It's not that hard.
did you guys know that she resented her mother until the dream sequence thing?
Had no idea.
No.
That was neat. Like, oh, that's
Also,
okay, cool. Yeah.
the acting was terrible in that first scene with the woman. Thank you for the umbrella.
Oh, right.
It was so the writing I know is really, but the acting was bad. And then we're like, wow, this lady is really not nice. And they flash back, and you're like, well, yeah, she was mean. Of course she hated her or whatever. And then she's like, oh, but she was trying to cure me. Like the head flip thing they tried to do.
Yeah,
was
I have this
ridiculous.
incurable neurological disease. But thanks, Mom. I guess. Like you did this for me?
I think
you did it all for me?
My favorite line, I think, was what is it? She goes, "Powers? The girls have powers in the future.
Powers? Yeah.
They
She just says it over.
have it. Girls, powers.
Future? And then they at least twice tried to say power and responsibility in this
They did
movie.
it well. Again, he's like, yeah, if you take on the responsibility, you will get the power.
Like
I literally, I
twice.
audibly went, oh, fuck off.
But twice. They
Like, in
reworked
the
it a
theater.
different time,
They
too.
did, yeah.
And
Oh, it's no.
I think they don't have the rights to that phrase
Right.
either, and they have to dance around it too.
It's the same quote. She's remembering him saying that.
Oh.
That's what it is, and it's like,
Okay.
God.
But whatever. They just need to cut it out on that one.
Yeah, like you get the one.
But see, what they should have had is had Ben hear that and go, oh, that's a pretty good line.
Yeah, it's a good line.
That's a
I
pretty
like
good line. I think
Actually,
I can
let me-
use that.
I'm gonna workshop that.
Okay,
I'm gonna try
so
to make it better.
this place that they lure Black Suit Spider-Man into, the PepsiCo fireworks
Yeah.
factory.
Yeah.
Is that the place
Yeah.
from the beginning that they
Yes,
said was a death
that's where
trap?
that's where Mike Epps was killed.
Are they storing
Yeah, 'cause
fireworks?
you see the Pepsi sign there.
What,
Yeah.
what are they doing there? What is the...
A warehouse, I assume.
Fireworks warehouse.
And I'm gonna guess that the Pepsi thing is just advertising.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, what is that warehouse's purpose? That is storing dynamite, fireworks. I mean, they were killing, like, they were massive. Like, fireworks don't usually blow
yeah,
walls.
Breaks
No,
a
they were-
brick wall down.
Not
Yeah.
just, I mean, well, a strategic spot in a brick wall that's literally just like a hole. Like it doesn't, when you blow something up,
A hole doesn't form.
it's not just like, oh, here's a perfect
In
square.
Looney Tunes, it does. In Roger Rabbit, it does. But what I'm saying is, like, they were storing it's a dynamite warehouse in the middle of New York City.
I
like,
thought it was
what is this
specifically fireworks, which
That's what I
really
thought, too.
did.
But those fireworks
I
are
know.
insane. Then, oh, it's like the $1 million ones that
Yeah.
they do big
Yeah,
shows
yeah,
on, so they
yeah.
could blow a building up.
Yeah.
It's like legit.
It's
Okay.
But I don't
it's
think
a
a
fancy
s-
one.
a
Well, they're getting ready
single-
for New Year's Eve.
Yeah, right. I don't think a single one could blow down a brick wall.
Those big ones. I mean, the ones they do shows
Like the
on
commercial
are massive
grade
explosions.
VP Fair
I
kind of
know,
ones,
but-
maybe.
Oh, those absolutely. could.
Yeah.
No.
They go way. They go that high.
No,
dude, they go
dude.
up in the air and explode. Like
Those the ones you see on like the 4th of July. Those could if
You will die,
You will
like-
absolutely
You will die. Well, you'll go blind
and
Well,
paralyzed,
and paralyzed.
which
Other
they
than
don't reference at all.
I can't
Like, how
believe
did that happen?
Honestly, I can't believe they did it because you see her and she's like, okay, she's not.
You know,
blind,
usually when
she's
we
not
say that,
paralyzed.
it's like, I can't believe they got the Guardians of the Galaxy to work. I can't believe Ant-Man. I can't believe they pulled that off. And this one, you're like, I cannot believe.
But
You're like, I totally believe.
But you're like, they totally sidestepped the fact that Madam Web is blind and paralyzed the whole movie. You're like, okay,
Right.
they want her in more movies. Like, we'll just kind of forget about that. And I thought, oh, the mom cures her, so like that's our rewriting way around
Correct.
it. And then they did it. I'm like, okay, that's bizarre.
It also breaks her brain to talk like Professor X.
Yes.
Oh yeah, sorry. So she sees a premonition.
Look, man.
Throw all these fireworks in here.
Yeah.
We're gonna explode them. So they go through this wacky Rube Goldberg device, get on the roof, and then she sees a vision that the Pepsi sign is gonna crash the villain.
Correct.
Which also, she keeps seeing an S, like earlier in the movie.
Oh, you mean like Spider-Man?
I guess.
Yeah.
But then they have an
Pepsi.
S, like she sees the S and it falls and knocks him down, but then he gets crushed with the P. And it
For Peter.
seems like,
Oh, S and P. See, that's,
well, it just seems like you would have made the S do the whole thing. Like
that would be your thought. Yes.
Or was then an I gonna fall and then a D and
Yeah,
then an E?
right.
See, they cut out the whole thing. Pepsi was going to give him $100 million, and it was going to be a P, then an E,
Okay.
a P, and they said no, we'll only give you 80, and they're like, okay, so
right.
It's just so weird to see an S through the whole thing, and then the S does, like I said, it does kind of a thing. It
It's
kind
a
of
head
makes it
fake.
fall, but then but it's not.
You're supposed
right?
to think it's Spider-Man, but it's Pepsi. That's how brilliant this film is.
Okay.
So they tell the Peruvian Spider-Man says, look, you're going to develop a power where you can be in multiple places at the same time.
And neither of those places will be a good movie.
Correct. That's right.
So we see her do it during this showdown.
She somehow astral projects herself.
And this is again, and at least they had him punch her. But I'm like, she's standing there, and Ezekiel's there, like
just watching her.
just kill her. Like, I mean, and I know I don't want our hero to die, but like in movie terms, villain's
Right.
here, she's here doing stuff against him. Just freaking lunge and
Well,
kill her.
And
Also,
none
she
of the girls needed help. They weren't like dangling by their hands. They were all sort of like
Oh, one was hanging above the fireworks place in flames. Like she needed help being pulled up.
But
for
wasn't
sure.
she like over the?
Oh, you like
arm-
under her arms?
Oh, that girl. One of them was hanging like two hands above a bar.
Maybe.
It was-
Either way.
Well, still,
She didn't know gymnastics like the Raptor girl in Lost World. So
one of them knows Taekwondo.
that
That's right.
came. That you know what? That came back exactly 0 times.
Yeah,
And that was
that's
good.
right.
So they beat Ezekiel. Cassandra Webb is thrown off the top of this building into the water, I guess and then gets hit with a firework in the water in the shoulder.
I thought I hit her in the face.
Did it?
I think so.
Oh,
because
okay.
it was funny.
Which is fine. Okay, I don't know how a firework is going to work in water.
I think it could
Guess if
stay
it's explosive
hot.
enough.
I guess. So now she's paralyzed, and this is the part where I was like, "Oh, this is why they hired Sydney Sweeney." So Julia, not Carpenter, but Caldwell, jumps into the water with this very not small, but like an Oxford button-up T-shirt. I was like, "Well, okay, this is that weird Kirsten Dunst Spider-Man upside-down kiss scene."
She kissed her. I missed that.
No, but have you? I mean, do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
Go back and rewatch it then.
No,
and
thank
tell
you.
me that in Spider-Man 1.
Oh, I thought you meant
No,
that
it's
her
Spider-Man
pulling
one.
her
It
out of
won
the-
the MTV Movie Award for Best Kiss.
Yeah, she is not wearing a bra in that cold ass rain.
Okay,
Oh, yeah?
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So they dive in, they pull her out of the water. Again, there was something else we just watched where she was like immediately getting out of the shower or something, and she was just immediately dry.
That was a porno you were watching.
It was not. It was a movie
Oh,
we did.
that is a movie thing that bothers me. But
Nobody
but,
ever
like,
gets dry in a porno.
You're watching the wrong ones.
Adam Scott, he's totally dry right after he pulls her out of the water. He's wet, and then they cut to the
Nuts.
next thing. He's dry.
Dry.
Oh, was there one where it cut?
Yeah.
Because I was like, he was wet, but I didn't see
Right.
the other one. Okay.
So this is where we get the whole CPR scene.
yes.
Now, what I thought we were going to
Oh,
get...
it's a good thing she taught him that earlier.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
So now they're all together, and this is the part I thought we were going to take a little bit of a time jump where the girls have their powers.
No.
Nope.
So
We're
horrible.
probably like 2 days. So she's
This
sitting.
ending's ridiculous. They should just ended
She's
it
sitting
before
in
this, if anything.
the wheelchair. She's got the
Those glasses are horrible.
Weird.
Madam
Very
Web
weird.
wore like circle like Daredevil glasses in the
remember.
And
comics.
she had a bandage, I think, maybe sometime.
Well, that's in the
Sometimes.
hospital.
No, in the
No, but I mean
comics,
in the
she
comics.
was.
Oh.
But they made her wear the weirdest
Yeah.
looking. They must be some Gucci product placement thing again.
It's real bad.
They're horrible. They look
Yeah.
like a 3D
Both-
glasses off like a Muppet Disney ride. You know what I mean? They look like
Both the glasses, the suit glass, the superhero costume glasses, and these are both equally terrible.
the superhero costume glasses look like, is it Jubilee from the X-Men 97
Kinda,
cartoon?
yeah. Jubilees are like
where they're
square.
like those
Right.
visor looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Matt?
I don't know.
It's just horrible.
When they come in and they go, we got Chinese, we didn't know, or we got takeout, we didn't know what you'd want, Kung Pao chicken. How did you know?
bless you, Jessica. What?
Yeah, it's
Achoo! Like,
like,
it is
guys-
so stupid.
Guys, you know.
yeah. You know what she can do.
Do you not know her powers?
It's like
yeah,
the whole
it's-
thing.
Like,
Right.
Yeah, you know about this. That's another thing for the audience in a terrible, inorganic way.
But here's the thing: is we see, just to backtrack real quick, in Ezekiel's dream, when he sees these spider women killing him,
yes.
he has gray hair,
Yes,
like
he's
Right,
old.
right.
totally gray hair.
I don't know when this is going to take place. Dude,
Brother?
you're old.
Brother,
And
your
you
hair?
don't, and you seem to age extremely slowly.
Yes, correct.
You're
correct.
33 years older than you were when you were 33.
And you look
Like,
the same.
Yeah.
I don't know if the powers have to play with not aging.
Either way-
quickly. But then he's really old.
Oh,
He's
no, that's
really
what I'm
old.
saying.
Yeah.
I'll take that
Yeah.
the power slow is aging, and he's 230 years old when he dies. Like, don't worry about it.
But yeah,
That's how it ends. Is we get the idea of like the web of life and
Oh,
all that
well,
stuff.
sorry. Because he keeps going. He says, like, they're going to stop me from completing my thing. And
What's the thing?
What was the thing? What
he
did
has no
want?
motivation other than to not get killed by these girls.
Right.
The villain's entire motive. Like, what does he do? Why did he want the spider? What are his evil motivations?
Because
Well,
it
he
seems-
wants the spider, I guess, to prolong his life.
No,
Or
okay,
just
but
to
to
be a
do what?
supervisor. I mean, yeah, in
what
a
is his
movie-
villain motivation?
Right.
His only motivation in this movie is to not get killed.
And then,
Right.
And so if he's not I mean, I guess, right, we assume he's a bad guy.
What's he doing?
But I don't know
What's he up
that.
to?
Why wouldn't he just have gone, I got to find these teenage girls and, like, talk to them?
Yeah, can you not kill
Yeah.
me in
Be
the
like,
future?
hey, guys, I don't know what happens, but, like...
Here, I'm rich. Here's all this money. Maybe, like, go do something else.
And you don't have powers right now, so like I've got some time.
Yeah, I guess.
And it is crazy that, like, I mean, I guess it's her powers. It's the way it would work, but it's unfulfilling, sort of, to just see Madam Web just, like, destroy this guy over and over again. Like, he never gets any sort of upper hand, or he does in the visions, but then they just go in and perfectly execute.
Oh, what was the thing where she went to the diner and talked to him, and then it cut back and forth between him in the suit, the only time you see him in the suit, and him not in the suit?
Oh, I don't know. And I don't know
what
what...
was that. She had
Because
never.
that's not the future. I guess she was saying...
She was somehow telepathically, like, I guess, connected by the web since they both are bit
I
by
guess,
the...
maybe.
But it cut between him in a suit and not in the suit. Like, what were they trying to show us there? Was it just different scenes?
Well, maybe
they
you're
filmed,
right.
or-
He wasn't the bad guy originally, and then they're like, we have to edit this to make sure people know.
Yeah.
That he is the bad guy?
I think there is something like that going on.
Yeah, it's
It's the cheesiest ending, though, when they all end, all the spider women and Madam Web floating above them.
yeah.
It looks so
It's
bad.
real bad.
It's
I like again. The Spider-Man does have this vast backlog of characters. That's not Peter Parker. Here's the problem: all of those characters, much like in this, what they're whatever. Like Peter Parker is the centerpiece.
Yes.
So you need to have a Peter Parker or a Spider-Man to spin all of this stuff off.
No
Right?
pun intended.
Correct. No, I meant it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
So the fact that we keep getting these, if you want to, like Craven kind of makes sense because you can tell that story without, like him hunting Spider-Man doesn't happen in Craven's life till much later, right? So you
He's
can tell
does his
a
stuff
story.
and then wants to hunt
Well,
Spider-Man.
and
Correct.
Joker was a fine movie.
Oh God, I have done a
I like
complete,
Joker.
I've done a complete 180 on that movie. Like I've watched it recently, and it's like, it's
You
not.
weren't ever supposed to like him. He's not a good guy.
That's not what the movie tells you.
I
Oh,
think
really?
it does.
Yeah.
I don't
People
think so
adopt,
at all.
you know, how people adopt things like that. Where they're like, I like Harley Quinn or Joker or whatever, but it's like they're murderers, they're bad guys. That movie never says Arthur Fleck's a good guy. I think he kills that woman and her daughter at one point.
We
And
don't
then-
know. We don't know that,
But he's not a good guy. That movie's not. It's how you interpret it.
Okay.
Like, people are interpreting.
I think-
he's the hero.
That's a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
Different.
But regardless, it's like
It worked
it's
though.
fine. Like
Yeah,
no matter
it's
what.
own. It works.
So
Yeah.
you can do it.
So you
Like,
can, but like you can't do a Rhino movie. That's not going to make any sense without Spider-Man.
How does a Venom movie make sense? Without
It
Spider-Man?
doesn't.
It
That-
just
It doesn't
didn't-
make
it didn't
sense.
make sense. It did make money.
It did
Well,
make money.
and that's the thing,
Right.
right? Joker's not like him going around doing big crime. It's like it's King of Comedy,
Yeah.
but with the Joker. Maybe you could do Rhino and it's like some Coen brothers like
It's a heist movie.
you know what I mean? Like
It's a heist movie, and then it ends up with him making a suit or whatever.
but they're trying to do it the one way that you would be like, well, no, but we don't have Spider-Man. We can't do that. And they're like,
Right.
nah, but we're going
But I
to a
think
bunch.
I think that's my point. Is Morbius? You can do a Morbius movie because he's not technically, his origin isn't tied
okay,
into
Morbius
Spider-Man.
is bad.
It is
This
bad.
movie's way
Oh, yeah.
worse than Morbius.
Yeah.
Easily.
I
but-
watched them back to back.
I would never say Morbius is a good movie, but after watching this, I'm like, that's a much better made movie.
Morbius is a very bad movie. Excuse me. Well, you cut that out, right?
Yeah.
Morbius is a very bad movie. This is not.
This is not a competent
movie.
movie.
This
This is
just doesn't even make it to the bar of like.
it's a mess. It's just
Yeah,
a jumble.
yeah.
Morbius, as bad as it is, feels like a film. It feels like
Sure,
there's
yes.
real actors with real scenes. Where this one is like, let's just splice this.
it has
together.
a bunch of logical problems, but like.
But there's a
you're
script. It feels
still
like there's
kinda
plot
going,
points and
okay.
characterization where Morbius
Right.
is like, you get it, he's sick, he's trying to do something.
Wait until we get the Green Goblin movie.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, if at this point Sony's like, what else?
hey,
we
I'll
got?
be right here, guys.
So yeah, it is. This movie is to Tom's point. This is flabbergasting.
Yeah.
That this makes it to screen.
Well, and like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know who Rhino. I've seen Rhino. He's in that meme. Who's Madam Web?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, she is like the fringiest of fringe
Yeah.
spider characters, and it's just like
I agree with you. They should have went with a Spider-Woman, but I have a feeling MCU has some kind of handle on, if you're going to do a Spider-Woman.
But they've got a Spider Woman in this movie.
That's so they don't call her that, but
so
I mean,
let Sydney Sweeney lead her own movie.
should have been Black Cat.
sure.
Oh,
She would have been the perfect Black Cat.
she would have been a really good Black Cat. That's a good call. Yeah, and now she's like
Wasted her.
Well, maybe not. Maybe MCU
I
is
mean,
notorious for
Yeah,
rehabilitating.
MCU might be able to
be like, look, we know they screwed you over
Could
there.
that be a thing? They can't say Spider Woman, but they can have her look exactly like they can't use the name.
That's what I'm kind of thinking,
But then-
is that they have to tiptoe around the real names. They just kind of sound like them. So when they show up in the MCU, it's like, well, we never said that was her. We never said that was Spider-Woman. Those were just
But call
superhero
her- use the
women
same-
acting like spiders.
Yeah, we're going to use the same costume. We're going to have her look the same.
I know, but it's like there's so many versions. I think that what they're trying to say is like, we never said that was Spider-Woman.
But doesn't it make
That's
more
spider-like
sense
superhero.
to go? Hey, spitballing here. Call her Lady Spider. Put her in the same costume. Have Madam Web be talking to her. If that's how you're going to tie it in or something. It just seems like the weirdest way to.
I mean,
look at a
you
list
can-
of characters and be like that one.
You can still bring Sydney Sweeney in as Felicia Hardy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's the multiverse.
Is she a good actress?
Well, not if they're saying
I
this
mean,
is
like,
the
I
same
think-
universe.
I
think they're trying to set this up
like,
as Tom
I don't
Holland's.
think so.
I don't think so.
she's-
I think she's good in Euphoria.
I think she's good in
She's
Euphoria.
really good in Anyone But You.
she can do a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, but I
or
think-
I mean,
She's
we've
got
only
she's
seen
got
her do
a thing.
Right. Now, I've not seen anything but
It's
you.
a really, really good rom-com.
Is it?
Really
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a perfect date movie. Perfect. It's fun. It's well written.
But it seems like it's a much less of an ask of her.
yeah,
as a
But she's
professional.
great in it. It's just
Yeah.
it's
It's just weird after really my only experience seeing her being this movie, seeing anyone say, "Well, they should put her
But
in,"
see-
because I'm going, "Whoa,
no. But that's what I mean though. Is I've seen her in
Yeah,
other
yeah,
things,
no, right.
and this movie, I agree. I like her, but I think she was very bad in
Yes.
this. But that's the script.
Oh,
is
for sure.
Yeah, no,
atrocious.
I don't disagree.
They're like, here, let's cover you up and put these glasses on you, and you're a nerd, and you have to act like, oh, hey guys, I'm a shy girl.
Yeah.
Like,
But I
it's-
think that's because she got cast in this before
She was
kind of
Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah.
yeah, but
I think if they were going back and doing it again,
Yeah.
they'd have given her another role, or they'd have written that role differently.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Or
also, like,
given
that's-
the quality of the writing in this movie, perhaps none of that is true.
Hold on. You saved my stepmommy. I'm a little girl.
Oh,
I mean,
was weird.
her in the beginning in the hospital where she's supposed to be like a little kid, and you stay my stepmom.
Yeah.
Like, that was.
But yeah, I think
It's like Jesse Bradford playing a high schooler when he's
Yeah,
35.
yeah, this is unbelievable
Yeah.
in the worst way.
Yeah.
The
This-
fact that we're only getting 2 superhero movies this year. I mean, DC, well, there's stuff coming from DC, but it's going to be on Max. And then we're getting Deadpool 3.
We need the break because these movies have not been good.
Man, I wonder if Marvel was just like, look, let's just pump the brakes. We've got Sony's fucking us with this Madam Web movie. We're just going to take a break.
They know it. Iger's like, we're taking a break.
Yeah.
So this movie opened to 18 to 28 million on an $80 million budget over the 6-day opening weekend.
It came out on Wednesday.
18 to 28 million 6-day opening.
That's real bad.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
that's real bad.
Venom opened to like 80 million or something.
I mean, yeah, Venom was a beast.
Look,
Like,
I think Venom is a different thing altogether because that character
Sure.
is insanely popular.
Yeah.
Right? Like that guy's got his own, he's on everything.
Yeah.
They don't even, it's so much so that anytime you see Spider-Man on a product placement, chances are Venom's not far behind him. So I
see you in your Madam Web lunchbox.
Golly. I did sell my Spider-Man collection, and that first appearance is in there somewhere. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately the problem with this movie from a box office standpoint, besides the fact that it sucks, is that there's nothing in it for the bros.
There's nothing.
And
and
these Sony offshoots have been very bro driven.
Yep.
And
Yep.
there's nothing in this for bros.
Nope.
And it's a shame because you don't want the cop out of like this movie is a female driven movie. You've got 4 female leads and it's a female director. And so like you don't want it to be like, oh, well, you're just saying this because you don't like women.
Well,
like, a lot there's
right.
an online community that is awful and will do that.
for sure.
But
Sure.
you can't use that excuse on this one because
And
it's
even-
just terrible.
In the most cynical way, if this was like a studio, like, let's make a woman movie, they messed it up at every turn. Like,
Should have made a Spider-Woman movie.
Yeah.
that's the thing is like there's no action.
Yeah.
There's
there's
no action.
Because she gets her powers
Right.
that let her see the future, and then she uses them to repeatedly avoid action set
yeah.
pieces.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. Like you if you want to make something,
It's like in a horror movie when you're like, don't go down in the basement. That's where the monsters are, right? Like, well,
Okay.
that's a smart idea in real
a horror
life.
movie where they go, you're right. Let's leave.
But it's going to make for a really boring movie.
her power.
55 minutes of a killer in a basement going, jeez, where are they?
Her power.
we're going to
other
be home
than-
20 minutes ago.
she really gets a grasp on her power like 2/3 through the movie when she goes to Peru and like figures what the hell is going on. But her power is being able to drive a car.
Yep.
That's why this movie's uninteresting.
Get down.
Every action scene is her driving, and it's just like in the cabin of her car going, "Wah, get out of the way. Wah."
Yeah,
like that's her power. That's not a fun action
It's
scene.
a superhero movie with no
There's no super-
fighting. There's no
Is
fist
she
fighting.
supposed to be really good with an ambulance?
That's what I'm
Like, is
thinking.
that why
That's-
she switches to an ambulance?
That whole thing of like stealing their ambulance.
Or she was like, I know how to drive one of those. Like, you
like,
drove
why-
that taxi cab just fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible.
So bad.
So bad.
So, I guess we've done all the damage. It should have been 60 minutes of suck,
I
but
know.
there was so much
Oh,
sucking.
so much suck.
there was no way. Yeah.
There was no way.
There's no way.
Yeah. So I guess let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
I host a podcast. It's called Real Spoilers Patreon. You
good
can
one.
find it at patreon.com/Real Spoilers. I guess the whole name wouldn't have fit or something. I
No,
don't
we
know.
didn't have enough room for it.
It's a horror movie podcast. Me and my co-host Joe are doing a fun thing right now. Kind of, you got to try different things.
Yeah.
So we're going through phase 1 of the MCU and just pointing out, are there any horror elements in this? We've had a great guest for the whole series.
Carl.
Carl.
Oh, I like it.
Carl Brunkett.
Carl Beckett.
Beckett.
Yeah.
Cool guy. He has his own podcast. I can't really spoil whatever.
Yeah.
So check it out. I think you'll enjoy
Really
it.
spoiled. That's it. Log that one
I'll have
away.
to check that
That's
out
a good
sometime.
one.
I
Yeah,
heard
it's
they
pretty
reviewed
good.
Lisa Frankenstein and it took the world by storm.
I'm just saying, history will be on my side. With that one.
People are like, I heard a guy has a really bad take on that movie. I've got to watch that.
Except for that one guy.
He loves that movie.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at Joey Butts, BUTTS21, and Letterboxd at the same. And Matt has done a great job of plugging the Patreon. So there we go.
All right.
Hey, by the way, also, Real Spoilers has a letterbox.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think everyone should check out.
You should check out this movie starring Kevin,
Kevin
Bacon's
Bacon's
daughter.
daughter.
Smile.
I had no idea.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin R. Brackett.
And this is Tom. You can follow me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our YouTube, where you can watch all of these. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Molina refuses to cooperate with the secret police.
Get back.